All right, good morning. Welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast for September 2nd, 2017. On today's newscast, we're going to be talking about the Miiverse, No More Heroes 3, Half-Life Episode 3, as well as additional Joker rumors for the upcoming origin story. Stay tuned. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast.
Yes.
Yes, September 2nd, 2017.
Still, yeah.
It's still. Well, wait, what?
Still 2007.
Oh, I heard stood me up. I'm not stood.
No, not at all.
No. My name is Tony.
Okay, I'm Chris.
Welcome, everyone. Let's get right into it, shall we? So, the Miiverse, it's the Nintendo's social media network that they established way back in the Wii. Was it the Wii? I don't know.
The Wii.
I think it started on the 3DS, actually.
Oh.
I think it started on the 3DS, and then they transitioned it into the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically Nintendo's version of, Facebook, Twitter, being able to post stuff online.
A social
thing. Yeah, essentially their version of, social media. And so, unfortunately, later this year, I actually pulled up the when the date actually happens. I think sometime in November. November 8th is when Miiverse officially will be no longer supported by Nintendo. And I mean, it's kind of sad to see something like this go.
Yeah.
And I mean, we also saw this in Splatoon 2, where there was obviously no Miiverse support on the Switch.
Yeah. And
so Splatoon had to find their own ways of posting really stupid images to the social media. So they had their own in Splatoon-verse, whatever, posting mechanisms. But yeah, we saw that there. Obviously, Nintendo is no longer wanting to move forward with it. And a lot of it has to do, I personally think a lot of it has to do with basically making sure all the resources are spent on the Switch now.
Yeah.
You have to pay for moderators. You have to pay for people to make sure no one's drawing dicks and posting them. And so it's a sad, bitter end.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of mixed to it. I like making my own Mii.
Well, no,
I enjoyed
the Mii is going to stay.
Okay, so just
the whole social media posting stuff is going to disappear. So
where do the Mii's fit in then?
The Mii's are just the avatars for Nintendo consoles, and that has stayed from the 3DS, Wii U, Wii, and obviously now the Switch. But the Miiverse stuff, everything was tied to specific games. So say you played the original Splatoon on the Wii U, you had a specific sort of board, specific forum area for Splatoon themed posts.
Okay.
So you can always log into the Miiverse and say who's posting what about this game in the Miiverse today, that kind of stuff. And so each dedicated game and app had their own, basically, I guess, board posts, circa 1996 web pages kind of stuff. I'm just going to make sure we're going on Twitch. I think it is. It should be. Oh yeah. We're good. We're good. We're good. So yeah, that's the big piece. Is there's a lot of that Miiverse support is going to be disappearing, and a lot of the old games are still going to work that did use a lot of Miiverse stuff. So Super Mario Maker, a lot of it had to do with whenever you finished a level, you could see other comments based off of that level in game.
Kind of like a Dark Souls.
Yeah, a little bit like a Dark Souls, where you could leave a message to people, being like, don't look over, don't go down that wall or whatever. Like, so people would be like, this game is great, or whatever, or this level was great, or something to that effect. And so, no more Miiverse support. Another piece of the Miiverse is that on the Wii U, I don't know. Do you ever Wii? Have you? I'm not sure.
Wii U.
So one of the big things about the Wii U is that when you had your carousel of games, you could actually see other people's Miis and their posts that they would have posted to the Miiverse.
Okay.
But now, none of that will populate, unfortunately. This
I guess
just how it's going to be.
Depending, I guess, how much... Obviously, people weren't using it if they're taking it offline.
I think it's a combination of that with a lot of the, again, moderation stuff. You gotta have to watch people making sure
focus on...
Because it is a E-rated social media site. I mean, trying to get family-friendly social media, it's pretty oxymoronic at this point. But they obviously had some sort of moderation going on there, and and a lot of the resources now going to switch over to the Switch in that regards.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's mixed feelings about it.
I know, and you know what? We have at least an end date, which is September 7th/8th, depending on where it is viewed in the world. November 7th/8th, depending on which time zone you're in. For us, I think it'll be 6 a.m. on November 8th. So, GMT, General Mountain Time. That's us. Aren't we GMT?
Yeah,
or MST. We're MST.
We're Pacific.
Yeah, so we would be...
No, sorry. We're 2 hours... We'd be 11.
Yeah.
11 on the 7th.
Yeah. So, get your posting ready. We're going to post the crap out of Miiverse.
Just spam it now.
So, they've mentioned that as sort of a silver lining to all this, anything that you've posted to the Miiverse up to date, they are going to provide ways to archive some of the content that you've posted. Okay. They've mentioned this on their website here. Let's just
Did they say how you can pull it up?
I don't think so. About the Mii service ending, this is from the Nintendo website here. It will no longer be possible to access Miiverse from your internet browser, Wii U console, or the 3DS console. All services offered through Miiverse, including reading, submitting posts, and exchanging messages with friends, will no longer be available. It is no longer possible to use in-game services that are related to the Miiverse in Wii U and 3DS software titles, and Miiverse posts will no longer be displayed in Waru Waru Plaza on Wii U, which is that carousel part when you see all the Miis and stuff like that. You've seen it before, and so they have mentioned here that you will be able to download your Miiverse post history. And so they haven't detailed how it will be, I think. Between now and the end of Miiverse service, a new feature will allow you to request a downloadable version of your Miiverse post history. What I can probably see this happening is you go onto the website with your web browser, you hit download, and it'll save everything into like a PNG or a JPEG or something like that. Yeah. So that's probably what's going to happen.
At least they're keeping, for those who want it.
Right, because some people drew crazy amounts of drawing. Like Nick had drawn crazy amounts of stuff on Miiverse, so at least there's a way for you to archive some of that and repost it onto other social media sites. Hashtag not my Miiverse, right? It's kind of sad seeing this going, and I can't help but think it was a lot of it was the Wii U's failure as a not failures as so much as a console, but just the lackluster support that it received. So a lot of Miiverse support is going to be going as well. As a side note here, there's also a Miiverse stage on the Super Smash Bros. 4. Okay. Where
is that going to be taken down too?
Well, it's going to be a basically blank stage now.
Yeah.
Because before, it would be a straight platform, I think maybe a couple of platforms in the middle, but in the background, it would be populated with basically messages and posts from the Super Smash Bros. Miiverse wall. And so it would populate with pictures of like, that guy drew a dick and it's flying around in the background. But so I can only imagine that it's not like they're going to take that stage offline, but it's just not going to be populated with any
old
stuff
is just going to pop up
or old content, or the best of the Smash Brothers Miiverse posts, something like that. Yeah. It's kind of sad that they're not continuing Miiverse into the Switch, because with a touchscreen, you have some of the best ways to draw stuff with a stylus.
Well, I think I was gonna say Nick I think he's found with the trying to draw on the Switch is kind of
it's challenging using because the Switch touchscreen is wildly different than the Wii U touchscreen. The Wii U one was a resistive touchscreen, which is basically it wasn't multi-touch. Basically, is the short answer, and a lot of it, and a lot of the battery life was preserved because of that. But now that they have to switch to the LCD panel that you see in the Switch, it's all multi-touch, which is fine. It's great for software development, but not so good in drawing pictures and writing messages. And on top of that, the Switch never doesn't come with a stylus anyways, so it's not like
You have to go buy your own. Right?
Yeah, you had to buy your own or get really good with the finger drawing, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's rip.
We move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's
rip Miiverse.
They can start their own Reddit page full of Miiverse.
So if you want to start archiving your photos or your Miiverse posts now, start posting now so that you can download them all and repost them, as a good subreddit user would do.
Keep the pictures alive.
Hashtag not my Miiverse on Twitter and on Facebook.
Everywhere. Just post it everywhere.
Everywhere. Everyone will enjoy it. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to. Let's move on to something else.
New game
announcement. So, this, I think, was it Wednesday or Thursday?
Something like that.
Yeah, Nintendo had another Nintendo Direct, specifically focusing on indie games, and there were a ton of great little indie games that they've announced. Some that probably didn't need to be announced because I could care less about them personally, because we don't need more Super Meat Boy. But
of course we do.
Kentucky Act Zero or Kentucky Highway or something like that. That got announced. That was a really, really popular PC game, and now all 5 episodes of this episodic content will be available on the Switch exclusively, as well as PC whenever all 5 episodes come out there as well. Shovel Knight is getting a new DLC, I guess. The King of Knights or something like that DLC, or King of Cards.
Amiibos coming with it too, I think.
Yep.
Wasn't there?
Yep. So they announced a triple pack amiibo for both the Spectre of Torment, I can't remember the other 2 characters, but it is another triple pack where you can unlock additional content throughout this the Shovel Knight game, which is super cool. But the big takeaway for me and for many people who were very excited when they announced this back a couple months back, No More Heroes 3, the 3rd chapter in the No More Heroes saga. This one's called Travis Strikes Back.
Okay.
So, without spoiling, honestly, no one really cares what happens at the end of No More Heroes 2. But it's basically, again, following Travis as he's, doing his nerdy superhero / hitman ways, assassin ways. But the big catch here is that Grasshopper Entertainment and Suda51 is basically teaming up with all these indie developers to create meta games inside No More Heroes 3.
Okay.
Because the plot point is that Travis gets sucked into this Phantom game console, and he has to replay, I think there's 12 or so indie titles that are being recreated in No More Heroes, but as Travis.
Interesting.
But it's still being created by Grasshopper Entertainment and Suda51, but they're working with, I think, Hotline Miami.
Okay.
Hotline Miami and Shovel Knight are the 2 games I think that they've announced, or developers, indie games that they're going to be working in collaboration with. And so this is huge for me. I think this is amazing.
Very interesting concept, actually.
Honestly, I honestly expect no less. Nothing less of ridiculous and weird from No More Heroes, and especially Suda51. That guy is... I put him in line in terms of game developers from Japan after Hideo Kojima, in terms of how crazy he can do his stuff. He had made other really fucked up games too. I'm trying to remember the other one where he went to hell, or one of his characters went to hell or something like that. I don't know, he's just super crazy and super kooky, and I kind of want Hideo and Suda to work together. I've always wanted that, and I don't think that'll ever happen. Maybe one day. That, I think if that happens, their game was just going to get canceled by Konami again. But yeah, this is amazing.
It sounds interesting that you're going to be jumping into.
Yes, so
that's kind of like a Wreck-It Ralph.
A little bit. You're right.
You're going to take all these different companies and
work together, basically.
Yeah.
Because and being an indie developer, honestly, that is such an honor, I think, to be able to work with Suda51 to basically make another version of their game, but under his vision.
Yeah, and I mean, No More Heroes is a bigger game, obviously, and
it's
so,
a wildly
as
popular
an indie
game.
person having your game in someone else's game would hopefully boost your sales up.
Yes. So
it's
I'm
kind
actually
of a win-win.
I'm actually super excited for this game, and I'm actually super excited for what other indie developers are going to be working with him. Like, obviously, I feel like Super Meat Boy will be in one of them. As much as I don't really like Super Meat Boy as a game, I'm just not interested in that kind of stuff. Maybe Cave Story.
I'm not sure which.
Cave Story might be a possible one as well.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously they're not. And honestly, working with indie developers is a lot easier too, because you don't have to jump through a lot of loopholes with
true.
bigger companies. It's like you don't have to talk to Capcom, you don't have to talk to Konami, you don't all these indie developers. They make their own games themselves primarily. They self-publish most of the time, and so being able to work with them directly saves costs, saves time. There's no lawyers you need to really talk to other than them.
Was there a release date to this?
I don't think so. Strikes. I spelled that word right, but it wasn't the right word. So it is heading to the Switch. We know about that. Honestly, 2018
so next year sometime.
2018 is reasonable. And honestly, if it ends up being like 2019, I'd still be okay with that.
Yeah.
Just take your time with this game. Like this, No More Heroes really defined my enjoyment of the Wii era, because that was, you had a lightsaber that you jacked off just to power up. That was his main weapon.
And you can continue doing that.
I will. Yeah, I was gonna say on the Switch you have two now. Now you have dual wielding. Yes. And then to charge them, you have to do it this way. I'm just saying, it's Suda. Just keep going.
It just reminds me of all the community outtakes they did, all the bloopers in that. If you watch them on YouTube, where they get the characters to.
I think I've seen that.
To do this.
I think I've seen that. So, yeah, No More Heroes. It's been 10 years since the last one, which is.
It says 7. It was 2010.
10 years ago. The first No More Heroes game.
Oh, the first one, yes.
Yeah, so like it's kind of endearing to know that Suda hasn't forgotten about No More Heroes. Like, he knows that it's popular. He knows that it's kooky. And it's just insane to think that it's not only coming back, but under this guise of like working with indie developers to create other games within another game.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, looking forward to more No More Heroes.
Sounds interesting. I had to look into more of this.
And also you have a Switch, right? So I think the smart idea, and I don't know how if they can do this or not, but they should definitely re-release No More Heroes on the Switch.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Because they've done it. They did it on the PS3. So, No More Heroes and No More Heroes 2. What was the title for that one? Heroes 2. I can't remember the title for that one again. Desperate Struggle. So, No More Heroes 1 got re-released on the PS3. No More Heroes 2 did not, unfortunately. So,
was it on the PS3? I don't remember it ever.
No. No More Heroes 1 was on the PS3. And the reason why it hit the PS3 is because that was around the same time the Move controllers were out. And was starting to be a really big thing where it's like, it's a Move controller.
Where you just move your controller.
And it was 1-to-1 parity with the Wii remote, so that's why they did that. PS3. It was under a different title though. Heroes Paradise, which was it looked good as a PS3 game. So, and it's not like No More Heroes was a graphically intensive game at all. Like, we'll go back.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's crazy great game. It had like the weird pixel art to it, crazy character designs. Yeah, no, this game was amazing. I'm excited to see what happens with the second one or the third one. With No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds very interesting that they're going to jump into different games.
Yeah. So let's switch over from one exciting third act game to another third act game, which you've heard. Okay, everyone's heard the story about Half-Life Episode 3, and it's like Half-Life 3, when's that coming out, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so earlier this week, let me just get his name again here. I don't want to mess his name up. Half-Life 3. But the original writer for Half-Life 1 and 2, what was his name? Mark something or other. Mark, it's right there. Mark Laidlaw. That's what his name was. So Mark Laidlaw, just to give you a small history lesson, Mark Laidlaw was the original story writer for Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and 2. So he sort of oversaw a lot of what made the Half-Life story amazing back then. And obviously, we don't have an Episode 3. There's been talk about it for eons and eons and eons. Like, every once in a while, assets will come up where it says like the little Half-Life symbol with the little 3 on it, and so people just kind of go with it.
Crazy.
Yeah, everyone wants Half-Life Episode 3, and so the big piece here is that Mark Laidlaw, he went on his personal blog and posted under the guise of a fanfic. Yeah. Wrote Episode 3, didn't write actually Episode 3. What the Too Long Didn't Read short story is that he basically wrote his version of what Episode 3's story would have been. Yeah. Changed the names, changed the genders, changed slight locations. Yeah. Basically, but it was basically what his version of Half-Life Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 would have been. And so obviously fans found this, they went rabid over it. They went and changed all the names to the correct names, the correct genders, locations, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting read because it does follow suit with sort of what was going to happen next in Half-Life 3 episode or Half-Life Episode 3, saga. Yeah. And so it's kind of interesting because Mark Laidlaw did leave Valve, I think, in January of this year. And so that was sort of like, that heralded the beginning of the end of whatever Half-Life 3 would have been, essentially.
Yeah, he might. Well, I doubt he'd be able to, but make his own.
I think that there are legal issues involved with him talking about what the story was. This game was in development at some point. Yeah. Whether it is now or not, it is yet to be seen, obviously. And that's why he had posted this under the guise of a fanfic. Yeah. Basically. And so, yeah, it's the way Portal 2 was going, the way Half-Life 2 Episode 2 or 3 ended. It's just, yeah, like it is crazy to see something like this come out, and it obviously was him being fed up with what Valve was doing. Yeah, and the fact that they kept dragging their heels over it.
And I'm not a Half-Life person, but I do. It has popped up. Quite a bit. Everyone I do know what it is.
Everyone knows the history of where is this game? Like Half-Life 3 confirmed. Half-Life 3 confirmed. Yeah. Is where the big meme came from. And so it's kind of super interesting to see that something like this has finally popped up. And there are hints and pieces in this little fanfic of stating of why it is he had left the company, and he didn't quite agree with the position that Gabe was taking with the game. Yeah. And yeah, it's just super disappointing to see that this is the way Half-Life 3 ends. Like
well, if he gave you a story though, it kind of it gives you the story without actually playing the game, and which is it's not obviously the greatest thing, but still it kind of gives you
this is coming from the mouth of the dude that made like essentially if Silent Hills. If Kojima and Guillermo del Toro went down and released a fanfic of what Silent Hills would have been under the guise of Hills Silent, that's the equivalent of what's happening here. Yeah. Not the time frame. 10. I think when was Half-Life Episode 2 even out? Like because that came out like 07.
10 years ago.
So almost 10 years ago, we got the cliffhanger ending to episode 2.
Yeah.
And I guess Gabe was on record recently about, when's episode 3 coming out or whatever. And he actually went and said, we are kind of moving away from the episodic content.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Half-Life episode 1 and 2 are episodic content, so everyone said, oh, is it just going to be Half-Life 3? And he was kind of coy about his reply in that regards. Obviously, like, things were happening behind the scenes that we're not privy to as the public. But yeah, this is kind of disappointing that this is the way that this story finally sees an end. It's not so much a game, but the fanfic of the dude what made Half-Life to begin with.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like, it's been 10 years. I don't remember anything from Half-Life 2. Something about head crabs,
sure.
Combines, we don't go to Ravenholm or Raventown or whatever it's called, or zombies, stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, it's personally, on a personal level, like, this kind of sucks. Yeah, I just feel like that Valve should have treated this a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And instead we get VR. We get not that I'm ragging on VR, but they went
Half-Life VR. You could have got Half-Life
at
VR.
this point, that's the only way Half-Life Episode 3. That's the only way that Half-Life Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 is released is the way Portal 2 had ended, or the way Portal 2 and the way Half-Life Episode 2 ended, is that there's no way that those universes didn't combine, basically.
Okay.
And so, yeah, like, it's VR is the next step, I think. If they were going to do Half-Life 3, VR would be the only way to save that franchise. Because you obviously get people what they want. Yeah. It may not be what Mark Laidlaw's vision might have been.
Well, now they put the story out there, you could just...
And here's the thing, like, it might not... And that's his vision of the story. Maybe Gabe has another vision of it.
Artistic.
And it's worth noting that a lot of the original team, obviously, who worked on Half-Life, is no longer working at Valve. Mm-hmm. So it's like, so you get I want to see what the tell-all is for this entire story. I want to see what in development, what was in development, what did they actually do, what were they planning, what were the arguments and disagreements. Like, I just, there must be some sort of like statute of limitation or something like that where they can start talking about it all.
Yeah.
And
if you get both sides of that, though, I mean, because one side would just obviously just be flawed of that, which
I think the only way to really calm everyone's side is to basically release the product that you guys were making on over 10 years for over 10 years. Like, this is that game.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Duke Nukem Forever, which has been released. We have Gran Turismo whatever finally released. We've got what other like vaporware games finally came out. I think there's one more, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Last Guardian from the PS4.
Oh.
Yeah, Last Guardian was another big one.
Took forever.
Yes. And apparently just a good game, not a great game, just a good game.
Yeah.
So, and Final Fantasy 15 finally came out. So it's really like Half-Life was the last to hit the road, or not hit the road, but like come out as whatever they're making. And this might be it. Like, this might be Mark's. Again, like, Mark must be.
Well, if he's releasing it, though, I mean, obviously he has a feeling that either they're going to be doing their own story and he wanted to get his out there, or
that's another thing to
or
keep in mind,
he feels that it's never going to happen, so here's the story, and just to kind of appease fans.
And I feel like
one of those two.
I feel like it was probably going to be the latter. Valve has really shifted its business model to digital distribution, to pre-order sales and stuff like that, and Steam VR is obviously very, very huge right now for them.
Yeah.
This is it. This is probably the last you'll hear from Half-Life Episode 3, Half-Life 3, whatever. I'm sad to see it go this way, and obviously 10 years and all this is all not all we'll get.
Wait for nothing.
Been a long wait for essentially a fanfic that people have already translated.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a really cool read. Like the story would have gone into some interesting directions, but it's just this is it. So thank you, Mark, for releasing that to the public. I mean, I haven't read all. I think I've only read like the first couple paragraphs, but it's a pretty crazy read, from my understanding.
Interesting.
So,
yeah,
let's
movie news.
Let's switch gears.
Rumors.
Let's what is this a rumor?
It's a rumor.
Okay, so
with the whole Martin Scorsese Joker origins.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit last week.
Yeah, we talked about it for a bit.
Or maybe the week before, something like
I
that.
think it was last week.
So
they're talking that Leonardo DiCaprio as the Joker. Interesting.
I think, honestly, if you're getting Martin Scorsese to do a Joker movie, you might as well go off the walls.
Well, Leo and Martin have worked with each other a fair amount.
And honestly,
it's not surprising that
Leo's got his Oscar. He doesn't need to do anything else. So he can do anything.
True.
He can literally do anything else now.
It's something different for him.
Watch as he gets an Oscar for this movie too.
Oh. It really seems like it's off
the rails.
Yep.
Yes. If you're
really
gonna do
out in left field.
If you're gonna do something crazy like this, just go all in. That's my.
Well, it's an origin story.
Yep.
And you're gonna go with a older guy because Leo's not young anymore. Like, how are you? Maybe
do the whole time travel thing where
or
the flashback thing where it's old Joker on his sort of deathbed remembering sort of his life as
talking
his life. So it's like again old Leo DiCaprio talking to Ben Affleck Batman. No. No? Can they do that? No. Are they going to do that?
No. Well, I mean, I think we came up with the idea that Joker never really tells his origin story, so he's always making up a story.
That's the shtick.
You could always go Leo's sitting and telling someone these stories, and it's a different story every time.
Yep.
You could do that. But, I mean, you hear origin story, you're expecting a younger Joker. And then you go and...
You know what? Dude, far be it for DC or any superhero movies to do prosthetics, to do digital.
Well, right? Everyone's done it. Like, I know Kurt Russell didn't do it.
Nope, not for Guardians.
He said it was just all him.
And I think that's bold. Also, that scene was like, 2 minutes?
Robert Downey Jr. did it for Civil War.
Yeah. What's her name? Haley Atwell did her old prosthetics for Ant-Man.
Yep.
So
and so did with Michael Douglas.
Yes, yeah.
They both did.
They digitized him, but I think Haley Atwell had real prosthetics.
Yeah.
So it's there's a mix that you can do, but the thing is, like, this will be for the whole movie, right? And so you just.
I know.
Let's see if we can.
Was it
something?
Tron, the newer Tron.
Yes. Yes.
I can't remember one of the actors' names in that, but he played pretty much a younger version of himself the entire movie, and that was the same thing. So I mean, we could do the DiCaprio thing, but how comfortable would he be with that?
DiCaprio,
I don't see him
first choice. How old is DiCaprio anyway now?
He's in his 40s.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Late 40. I think he's 42.
That's okay.
It's not terrible, but still.
He looks
story.
A, he looks really good for 42, and B, I think they could totally pull it off.
I don't know.
I think so. And then it depends on what the direction.
It's a risky move, but
it depends on what the direction they want to do too, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and it's Scorsese, so it's going to be off the walls crazy already.
A gangster movie.
Hey, yeah, the Joker is basically a gangster. The DC version of a gangster.
Depends which one you go with.
Yes, this is true. But
as Jared Leto just proved.
I forgot about that until just now. I forgot about his Joker until just now.
He's kind of a gang leader. Actually, he is.
Honestly,
he is a gang leader.
Honestly, I think of, as cliche as this is, I think of the Heath Ledger Joker as a gang member more than.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, like an anarchistic.
He was an anarchist. He wasn't part of any group. He was
no, but anarchistic, like sort of gang. Like I want shit. I want to cause shit. Let's do this.
Yeah, like Jack Nicholson was.
Okay, yeah.
A gang leader.
If anything, yes, Jack Nicholson's
was a gangster leader.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one I was thinking of. I can't remember him.
I wonder how difficult it would be to put makeup on Mark Hamill.
Very.
I guess he's tied up with Star Wars stuff now.
Because he looks old too. We'll see how Episode 8 ends.
We'll see if he's busy, if he's got a job after Episode 8.
They're just gonna keep killing off the characters one at a time.
Yeah, but the thing is, in Star Wars, they can just bring him back as ghosts.
Oh yeah,
ghosts. Ewan McGregor ghost. I'd be okay with that.
Yes, I would.
Surprise! Ian McGregor's actually on the cast list for Episode 8, and no one knew. I'm not reading the IMDb page to spoil that shit for me.
I might later. Just to see.
So yeah,
I find it.
I don't.
Odd. For me, it's an odd.
This
choice.
entire movie was an odd choice. So, for me, anyways, I see this as like an outlier. It's like if it's good, then I'll watch it.
Yeah. But
I'm not holding my breath for it.
I don't know.
Is my big thing is I don't want to hold my breath for it. Yeah, that's it's kind of crazy that this is still a movie that they're going forward with. Is the crazy part about this?
Yeah, I know.
And the fact that Jared Leto and what's her face? Margot Robbie is on board for another movie there.
Yeah, and just them.
Yeah, just them. Not Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be a totally separate movie.
Because
too.
apparently Suicide Squad 2 is being delayed.
Because of Will
Smith. So I guess, yeah, so side movie, yeah. Will Smith is apparently delaying Suicide Squad 2's filming. What is he working on right now?
I don't know.
Oh.
Not Aladdin.
Yeah.
He
must be.
It's just voice work.
Yeah, but he's probably working on
maybe.
it. Yeah.
Depends how they do
and it depends on other actors' schedules, too, because it's an ensemble movie, think about it. You have to think about what everyone else's schedule is, right?
Yeah.
So, Will Smith, IMDb. What's he working on? We know two things. He's got to be
not Bad Boys 3.
Dumb.
I would hope he would, but
announced. Bad Boys.
It's announced, but he's not.
Bad Boys for Life is a great name for that title. For that movie.
Yes.
It is a great name.
But he's not good.
So he is. Okay, so wait, Bad Boys and Bad Boys for.
It's a I don't know.
Okay, IMDb, go home, you're drunk.
So that would be Bad Boys for Life 3, and then that 4 would be that one after that. They're planning 2 movies. Apparently.
Oh, are they?
Apparently.
Full disclosure, I don't think I actually watched Bad Boys.
I like them. They're a good action movie. It's Michael Bay.
I extra don't want to watch it now. So on IMDb, it doesn't even list Will Smith back yet for Suicide Squad 2.
Well, because it hasn't been done yet.
No, but it's been announced.
The movie he's working on he was working on is Bright, and Aladdin's in pre-production, so it's not even going yet.
But the thing is, like, by the time it's going to be in production, it's probably around the same time that Suicide Squad 2 was going to be in production, right? So, fact checking 2. Actually, we should probably check in the chat here.
I was surprised Jared Leto was mad about another Joker. Well, you could probably click on that and see if there's what he's working on.
Oh, that's true. I'm going to do this. So we've got Jared Leto. Everyone is rumored. I like that. That's a good start.
Just the 2 characters.
That's a good start to this entire story here. I'm just gonna load the chat up there. No, there's a full cast. Oh, there's an update now.
No.
There's no. If you're chatting, I apologize if we haven't replied to you. Our chat application has been down. this cast.
Getting it.
But yeah, so it looks like just those two. Cool. I just honestly, I don't know what to feel about the entire DC universe.
Yeah, including
the DCEU,
including the origin. I don't know.
So, yeah, the Joker.
One of the
Jokerses, and then Flashpoint comes in, and then they merge the two universes together, and then the
Joker fight.
Joker on Joker action, some hot Joker. There is someone watching. Hey, hi, thanks for watching. Yeah, some hot Joker on Joker action.
Leo versus Leto.
For some reason, DC finds it in the budget to bring Heath Ledger back alive. Reanimated dead corpse.
We've been working on zombies.
That's a whole. I have several other questions. Are you gonna bring Christopher Reeves back? Is this how Superman comes back?
Doom, yeah. It's a twist. There are two Superman. That's why you hear two booms with Alfred. Two Supermans.
That's the plot twist. The plot twist is M. Night Shyamalan was directing Justice League all along.
I see where you're going.
Plot twist. Apparently, while we're on DC movie news, Joss Whedon isn't getting a director's credit for Justice League. He is getting, I think, a writer's credit or something like that.
Yeah, I think something like
Which, at least
they've done that before.
As long as his name is on the project, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, they've done it before where they people come in and do that. All they do is get a writing credit.
And yeah, my thing is, as long as he's on there somewhere.
But what will be annoying is if Justice League movie actually does well, Zack Snyder's going to get full credit for
the fixes
for the whole movie.
And I think that going in as us people who know that kind of stuff, we will be like, no,
that's a Whedon
really
thing.
Are you sure, Zach? Are you sure you made that change? Are you sure you brought in Green Lanterns? Because I don't think that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, no.
So
yeah, we'll see with all these DC ones.
They're not even done, are they? And that movie's out pretty soon. Like the
November.
Yeah, the movie should be done production.
I think it is done.
I don't think it's done. Is it completed?
Oh, I thought it was.
I don't know that they, production studios will let people know the movie is done. This League, IMDb. I'm lazy. Let's see this is dropping in popularity.
Surprise.
Post-production works still. So it's still.
But that's updated April 22nd.
That's true. Is, I guess, Google IMDb. Oh no, is Justice League done?
It's Justin Bieber Spanish. What?
Rewrite Justice League early 2015. No, that's not it at all.
I don't know.
Either way,
We'll be told.
like the movie is pretty close. I just hope that it's done by now. Like the movie's been up and down in terms of production.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many reshoots they did. Like 3 or so.
It's ongoing.
3 or 4. It's crazy amounts.
It's ongoing.
So, and digital removing of a mustache and everything else in between.
Yep.
But yeah,
I think that's everything.
I think that's all for this week. As a very, very brief Pokemon Go update.
Yeah.
Well, not for you guys, not for me. The legendary beast animals of Johto are being released in the wild as raid Pokemon. So that includes Raikou, Entei, and Suicune.
Yeah.
And so the big twist about this is that in North America, including Canada, Mexico, United States, we're getting Raikou first in all of our raids. Entei is going to be in Europe, not Europe, Europe, South Africa.
So we'll do a rotation.
Africa, yeah. So basically, in separate there, and there's a great chart on the subreddit for Pokemon Go if you really want to follow this. But essentially, the legendary beasts will be here for 1 month, and then they're going to rotate to another portion of the world for another month, and then rotate to the last position for another month. So a little bit like how the beasts were revealed or released in Pokemon Gold and Silver and Crystal, is that you would release them from the tower, the burned tower or chaos tower, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they would be released from the tower, and you would actually have to find them in the wild.
Okay.
Just like how the old video game was. So I like that that's the aspect that they're doing it. I don't like the fact that they're in raids. What they should...
Well, they're legendaries.
What they should have done, and now this is maybe not popular opinion, but what they should have done was, yes, the Raikou, Entei, and Suicune are going to be in the wild, but they will literally spawn in the wild. Not as a raid battle, but like as an encounter Pokemon. For 30, like, obviously you get the half an hour timer or whatever, but they would spawn. You have literally one ball to try and catch them, or else they run away. Just like how it is in the original game. Because that's how you would catch them in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, is that if you encounter them in the wild, yeah, let's put them to sleep, let's, fight them how you normally would. If your ball fails, they would run away. You'd have to try and find them all over again. And honestly, with 30 days to try and get Raikou, like, I feel like that could have been the best way to do it. I mean, I personally don't like the rate system myself. Yeah. Just because I don't like to use Premier Balls. Premier Balls are just complete trash in terms of catch rates. Like, they are... they're basically Pokeballs, if not worse. So it's like... And the way the RNG works in the game, it's ridiculous. I like fighting against them, that's cool, but trying to catch them afterwards, it's kind of a... Yeah. It's kind of a kick in the balls. And they have heard... Niantic has responded in regards to the exclusive raid battles, where before it would be based off... You would get a raid pass based off of if you've done a boss battle on that gym. Okay. And so they've taken a lot of the feedback and criticisms over the past week, and they've said that they are going to be retooling that battle feature, basically. Okay. So hopefully, you don't have to be going around doing tons and tons of raids anymore. Yeah. So hopefully it's just, oh, did you do a raid in the vicinity of this other raid? Here's a pass. Or my suggestion is that if I get an invitation for a raid pass, I can then invite 3 of my other friends to go do it with me. Yeah. Because then that helps, because
especially with raids.
Yeah, like if you have friends in the north side of the city, south side of the city, like downtown or wherever, right? Like it's like, like Bob, Jim, and Sue, like come down to the south side. Mewtwo's coming down here, like in like 2 days. Come down, and I'll give you an invitation to go do it, right? Yeah. Like, and then vice versa, come up to the north or downtown, right? Because to expect someone to go across the city to do just measly raids, it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. And on top of that, you only get 1 free day, so you would have to start paying for additional passes, which was completely ridiculous. So hopefully they take some of those criticisms to heart and make it a little more balanced for not just urban players but rural players as well. Yeah. So there's your brief Pokemon Go update minute. Nothing too huge, basically. If you liked, I think that's it then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you have any last minute-y stuff.
I do not.
Game of Thrones happened.
It's done.
Yes, for now. So, but we can talk about Game of Thrones later.
We can.
Yes, we can talk about it later on our post-credit show.
Yeah.
On our post-credit show, where we talk about games we've played, movies we watched, TV shows we've experienced, things like that. Yeah. And so stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5-6 minutes. Yep. In the meantime, go check out our Facebook page, our website, more importantly than anything. We've got links to all of our social media sites, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, take an opportunity to go through our back catalog. Yeah. We have basically almost everything reposted there. So go take a look at that. It's at www.barrelrollnews.com. There's also a Patreon page as well. You can take a look at some of our sick ass reward tiers. The sickest.
Yes.
The illest.
Sickest.
Will literally make us sickest. The sickest.
It would make these newscasts even more interesting.
Yes. So if you want to take a look at there's some information on the Patreon page as well. But like I said, we'll see you guys in 5 or so minutes. Goodbye.
Bye.